The last place I wanted to be was Frostnipistan.
This one's wife. She needs you to swallow the BS. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Certain narcissists operate with a facade. Sometimes it's superiority, sometimes it's a facade of being a bit of a rough diamond, a misunderstood individual who is kind. Sometimes it's a facade of being a caring, compassionate, empathic individual. Mid-range and greater narcissists operate the facade. We see them most often with mid-range narcissists because they invariably are incongruous with many of their behaviors. Greater narcissists will operate a facade whereby they seem like a decent person. They seem like they care. They don't go into the overacting, if you will, of the mid-range type of facade. Their facade is much more polished and indeed stays intact much of the time. It's often very difficult to fracture. This one's wife operates a facade. To the outside world, her narcissist portrays her as this kind, charitable, philanthropic, empathic, empowering, independent feminist. We, of course, have seen the evidence that demonstrates that she's none of those things, and it's just something that has been created by her narcissism, to enable her to control more people, to draw fuel from them, to cause them to provide her with residual benefits. Indeed, the facade itself is a residual benefit. So, for instance, those people who've been taken in and think that she is a kind and compassionate person and speak of such as members of the coterie or as lieutenants, they create for her the residual benefit of her facade management. That's why she interacts with those individuals. One of the other facades that she also operates is the facade in relation to her relationship. Not only is it the case of trying to demonstrate to the world that they remain married and that they are together, but also that this is an idyllic marriage. There are two things which tell us that it's not. The first, the repeated rumours, and based upon what appears to be quite credible evidence that actually they're not together and they create this image of being together to protect the brand. Secondly, and even more convincingly, is the fact that because she is a narcissist, it means it isn't a happy marriage. No marriage with a narcissist is ever happy. It starts off that way, although the narcissist doesn't experience actual happiness, but an unaware narcissist thinks that they do. What actually occurs is that the narcissist, as a consequence of their receipt of fuel, believes that they're happy. The golden period is being given to the victim. They think that they're happy. But it is always the case, I repeat and triple underline, always, that the dynamic between a narcissist and an intimate partner primary source will only ever end up with devaluation taking place. It always happens. It always happens because either that intimate partner primary source victim's fuel is provided in huge amounts, so it becomes stale, or it's somehow rationed, and therefore it's not provided often enough, or in the quantities that we require. Furthermore, it may well be the case that the intimate partner primary source starts doing things which threaten our need for control. Thus, you're always going to end up in the sustained devaluation. There's nothing you can do to prevent it happening other than leave the relationship during the golden period. And nobody does that. Why would you? You think that you found your soulmate, somebody who understands you. Everything's wonderful. This one's wife, however, wants the world to believe that her relationship with Harry is a brilliant one. And it seems to me that we've been given evidence again of the fact that she has due regard to social media and mainstream media, because there has been an increase in observations about the fact that they're not together and that it's just a ruse with regard to protecting their brand. Such a suggestion, of course, even though it's true, is a threat to her need for control. Thus, it results in her needing to nullify that threat to control, and of course, this results in a PR puff piece through who else but hello, Nicola Murphy, who's the weddings editor, imparts the great news: united Prince Harry and this one's wife have never been stronger. Have your mum and dad put out a PR puff piece about the fact that their marriage is great? Have you put out a PR puff piece about how much in love you are with your partner and how everything's going swimmingly? No, thought not. Now, of course, many of you listening aren't famous, and therefore there will be limited interest in the state of your relationship. But, once again, this is a narcissistic indicator. The necessity of telling the world that your relationship is strong demonstrates a need to assert control and to draw fuel and to manage a facade. Your relationship is your business. How it's faring is a matter between you and your spouse, your partner, your cohab, whoever it might be. It isn't for worldwide consumption. Naturally, it's part of the territory when you're famous that your relationship will be spoken about. But that doesn't mean you have to respond to it, except where you're a particular type of narcissist you do, because such speculation is a threat to control. And thus the repeated speculation about the state of the Sussex's marriage threatens this one's wife's need for control, resulting in her having to pump out some more BS that you have to swallow. You have to accept that their relationship is idyllic. It's the most successful marriage that planet Earth has ever known, that they've never been stronger than they are before. And yet, not only does the evidence when they appear together show to the contrary, but we know that because she's a narcissist, Harry is being devalued, so it hasn't been stronger. This is just another instance of a PR puff piece seeking to manage the facade. The article tells us it's apt that while attending a premiere of One Love, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex displayed clear signs they were totally in love, according to a body language expert. Well, whoever that body language expert is, hang your head, you've got it wrong, as they so often do. Harry might be in love, but she isn't. She's a narcissist. She's incapable of it because she has no emotional empathy. The report tells us that they went to Jamaica, as we know, and then it tells us that apparently this one's wife was looking flawless as always, really, and she stepped out in a spaghetti-strap top with a square neckline and a black ball skirt from one of her go-to brands, Caroline Herrera, while Harry looked equally as effortless, well, you might say scruffy, in an open shirt and suit. Darren Stanton explained that their surprise appearance proved they've never been stronger, judging by their prolonged eye contact and meaningful hand-holding. Well, I can describe that another way. The hand-holding, of course, is the exhibition of the grip of doom that is being utilised for the purpose of assertion of control over Harry, and prolonged eye contact is asserting control over him by another physical means, along with facade management. The couple showed a completely united front, said Darren, adding, there was a great moment of reciprocal PDA from this one's wife, where she placed the flat of her right hand on Harry's chest. This is a physical assertion of control. We've seen her do it many, many times. The chest is known for being a sensitive area in body language, as that where most of your vital organs are. The fact she placed her hand there proves there's huge trust and rapport between them. From the photos I've seen, they've never been stronger. Wrong, wrong, and thrice wrong. She places her hand upon him because she has to control him and manage her facade because she's a narcissist. Therefore, she puts her hand on his chest. Nothing to do with vital organs, nothing to do with trust, and everything to do with her need to control him. This one's wife also displayed fixed, prolonged eye contact towards Harry on the night. At one point, the pair were pictured with this one's wife gazing up towards her husband. Well, she's done that before. I think it was when she was wearing her grandma's bedspread that she looked at him adoringly. He's in a respite period in that instance. He's being given a benign manipulation. And, of course, it's all done for the manipulation of the facade to say to the outside world, see, we're together, we're completely in love. And this so-called body language expert falls for it, stating, there wasn't much space between them and they seemed really close. Physical touch, proximity and eye contact are three major gestures that signal when a person may be in love, and this one's wife displayed them all. Well, let me make clear, I have been physically touching people, I've been close to them, I've been proximate to them, and I've made prolonged eye contact with them, and believe me, they knew full well that I wasn't in love with them in that particular instance. And I'm not talking about a romantic partner. And there have been instances where I've been physically touching a romantic partner, they've been proximate to me, and I've made eye contact with them, and they would not say that that's a demonstration of love at all. But there's more of this BS. That was not their only form of PDA, with Darren stating they showed a particularly strong connection compared to recent events. Darren previously said they have become less tactile as their relationship has evolved. Well, that doesn't appear to be the case. We've seen plenty of evidence of the grip of doom in action, the pushing on the back, the manoeuvring Harry. When looking at their body language, their public displays of affection have changed drastically over the years, he said in January 2023, adding they've toned it down. This has been evident when comparing their kisses at the Centre Bali Polo Cup in 2018, shortly after their royal wedding, and their more poised appearances in recent years. Speaking of their latest outing, he said, the way they were holding hands was quite significant, and it was the first thing I noticed. It wasn't just simply holding hands, but they had their fingers interlocked into each other, which is a really tight way of showing a connection, or, if you actually understood you're watching a narcissist, a real way of controlling the victim. Once again, this is a so-called body language expert who gets it hopelessly wrong, because he doesn't understand that he's looking at a narcissist, and you need to understand their body language through the prism of their narcissism. What we are being treated to is the pumping out of more BS by way of facade management from this one's wife, which you are expected to swallow. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.